For me, a brief and a set of sort of requirements for a project is not enough to make architecture. To me, it's incredibly important to have a deep understanding of the history and the dimension and the situation really that you're making architecture in, rather than a building that could exist anywhere or that you design sort of in isolation from anything. I wanted to recreate in these walls this sensation of this knowledge through these, old architectures, pre-colonial architectures that serve as inspiration in the different places we work, not as a direct thing to copy, but more as sort of a piece of self to hold on to and carry forward somehow, And then it's talking at the same time to the contemporary architecture that we make in reaction to it. The inspiration came from this memory that I had growing up in the desert, growing up in a place where we would go on weekends to this sort of mountain sites in the middle of the Sahara Desert, where you could see actually Neolithic carvings on the wall from 10,000 years ago, because there was sort of this thriving civilization during the Green Sahara period before it turned into a desert. And there were traces of that everywhere. You could see it on the floor, you could see bones, you could see kind of polished stones. All of those have disappeared now, and they're probably in museums somewhere, because I was back there in 2019 and none of it was left, but the carvings were still there. But those carvings were an incredibly important moment in my life, because they gave me this sense of the dimension of our history. Because later on, when I came to study, in the US, other parts of the world, you always got this sense that somehow, Africa was supposed to be a place that doesn't really have a story. Before colonization, there was nothing, and that never really impacted me. That vision, or that way in which the continent is framed in the imaginary of others, never really affected me in any way, because I had this very direct example and proof of the length and the depth of our history. And the other reason why we did it this way, as this process and as these blown up drawings, there was also a question of knowledge and who holds that knowledge. These are drawings that exist in books halfway across the globe from where, these buildings are, and who has access to that knowledge. And drawing them by hand was sort of a way to reappropriate that knowledge. I derive a lot of satisfaction from really delving in and understanding the forces at play where the building is being created, perhaps even the knowledges people have in terms of making, architecture, design, all kinds of different traditions that have evolved all the time, and try to figure out a way to incorporate that in what the building becomes in order to make it something that is truly contextual, but at the same time supplemented that with a good understanding of the climate, of the natural conditions, around, which then leads us automatically to think about the materials that are available. And the result of all of that is usually something that really feels like it fits uniquely well in the place.